to the Geeky Girls Knit Podcast. I'm Cece, also known as Java Pearl.
I'm Damaris, also known as Damaris Dash, a bit weird.
And we're glad to have you today. Today is, I totally forgot what I'm supposed to say. I don't know why. I have the show notes right there. Today is Wednesday, June the 26th, 2013. And this is episode 44. We're old. We would like to say a big hello to any new viewers who are joining us today. Thanks for giving us a shot. And a big welcome back to all of our returning viewers. We love you. Thanks for watching us week after week. We have some new viewers who introduced themselves in the Ravelry thread this week in our group. So we would like to give them a shout out. First up, we have M Queen, who is Nicole. And then we have KSH1, who is Karen from, I don't know how to say that. Reigate, UK. It's near London. I looked it up to see how far away we were going to live from her. And then we have Black Isle Crafts, who is Sheila, who lives in the Highlands of Scotland. Hi, Sheila. And she has her own podcast. It's an audio podcast called Black Isle Crafts. And I think she has 3 episodes now, maybe 4. Anyway, I'm really enjoying it. Her and her family do farming, and they take care of sheep, and I love her accent. It's beautiful. So I'm enjoying listening to Sheila. So give her a check out if you have not. Black Isle Crafts, BLACKISLE Crafts. She's got a Ravelry group. So welcome to you 3. We're glad to have you. If you are not a member of our Ravelry group yet, what are you waiting for? Come on. Hit pause. And go join. Hurry. Okay. And then after you finish watching, go back to the group and find the introduction thread and introduce yourself. And then we will say hello next week. And you'll get us 1 member closer to 200 when we will give out a prize. Prizes?
Yes.
Prizes. At least 1 prize. We're in the 170s range right now, so go join. All right. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about, so I think we should probably get started.
Now we're going to talk about what is on our needles.
So what's on your needles, Mare?
I still have my sleeve.
But you did a lot this week. A lot. So there's her doodly bobber. Can you wait to hold the needles maybe? There we go. How many repeats is that?
3.
3 repeats? That's pretty awesome. So tell them what it is in case they haven't seen it before.
It is the second sleeve to my Watson sweater, based off the Dr. Watson's Cabled Crewneck pattern by Trudi Brown. The yarn is Berroco Vintage in the Oats colorway, and it's size 3.5 millimeter needles.
US force. Okay, so how many repeats do you have to do for the sleeve?
15.
And how many are you at now?
I don't know. 8.
8? So you're halfway. I bet you will get quite a bit done on Friday. We'll tell you about Friday in Yummies. Stay tuned. We will have lots of knitting time on Friday. Well, good job. You made a lot of progress this week. I'm proud of you. I can't wait for you to get to the body, because I have a feeling you're, instead of having second sock syndrome, you're having second sleeve syndrome. Yes? It's also really hot here. And who wants to work on a long sleeve heavy sweater when it's hot? Okay, so I have a couple things on the needles, and quite honestly, These did not get much work this week. I only worked on these on Monday night while we were at small group, because I finished a bunch of stuff this week. So, these are, oh, I guess I should take the, does anybody else, when you're doing socks, stick the ball of yarn inside the sock? I do that. But it makes it look funky when I show it to you. Okay, so these are my Stripey Everyday Socks, based on the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern by Erica Luder, but I'm doing them toe up 2 at a time. And this is out of some yarn I won from Diane of the Knittables podcast. It's Brown Sheep Wildfoot Luxury Sock Yarn in Lilac Desert and Little Lilac. And I'm striping it every 4 rows. And I'm doing it on US 1's 2.25 millimeters. So this is, I'm on the heel flap. And I got a few more rows done this week on the heel flap. There's the pattern, the Hermione's pattern. So I think I will probably work on these on Friday, though, and hopefully get some progress on them. The other thing that is currently on my needles is the Dandy Sir Cephalopod pattern by Susan Claudino. I'm using US 5's 3.75 millimeters, and this yarn, y'all have seen this yarn before because I've used it for other projects, and I think I have just enough to do this whole cephalopod. So this is the Universal Yarn Patchwork in the Island Breeze colorway, and it goes from like white to like pale blue and white, and then like a darker blue and white to turquoise and white. So I stayed up late last night and attached, oops, hold on, the yarn ball like got tangled in my magic loop. I attached the 8 legs. So you can kind of see the different shades that are in this one skein. So I've got all the legs done and the bottom of the body, and I attached the legs, and am now working on the main part of the body. So I think that I will probably finish this today, because the rest of it is, this is not a difficult pattern. It is a paid for pattern, and it was gifted to us by someone that I cannot recall. We thanked them when they gave it to us, but I can't remember who it was. Thank you again. You know who you are. It's not a difficult pattern, but it can be fiddly, because the legs are completed separately and stuffed and then put on scrap yarn to attach to the body. And especially trying to attach all 8 legs can be fiddly. But they're attached, and I think Wyatt will love this. So that's the other thing on my needles. And this is a really fast knit too, as I will show you in finished objects, which I think we're ready to move to. So, on to finished objects.
Now we're going to talk about our finished projects.
This has turned out to be like the CC show. I'm really sorry. You will talk about a lot of stuff in Yummies. Okay, so last week I told y'all that I was doing a new design, well actually it's a set, for my niece Lola. Her birthday is in September. She will be 5. And I got the message from my sister that Lola sent that she needed a purple and pink scarf for her birthday. Well, so I went and bought yarn and was doing it, and I was going to have enough yarn left that I decided to knit a pair of fingerless gloves for her as well, and loved the pattern so much that I decided to publish it. So it's with Test Knitters. Side note, my test knitting for this project is full right now, but if you are interested in test knitting for me in the future, go ahead and send me an email, javapearl@thealmonds.com, or PM me on Ravelry, Java Pearl, with your email address, and I'll add you to my database, and I'll contact you for the next project. So it's with test knitters right now. I know one person has finished gloves, I believe, in all 3 sizes, because I did the fingerless gloves in 3 different sizes. A 6-inch hand circumference, 7-inch, and 8-inch. And also finished the scarf, and another person finished gloves. My deadline for them is not until, I believe I told them, end of next week. So I'm looking at publishing like mid-July. So the pattern is going to be called Lola, Ziga, Zaga Scarf and Fingerless Gloves. And I did it in a purple, a pink, and a gray, silver gray, on size US 10 6.0 millimeters. I'm still not going to show you the whole thing, but I will give you a sneak peek of the scarf again. You ready? Alright. So, hopefully that gets your interest, and that will be published soon. Alright, I finished something else this week. Actually, I finished 2 something else this week. So, I'm trying to use up a lot of stash, especially leftover balls of stuff, before we move. So, and I knew that the Hubs was going to need a hat in Scotland, because if we've shown him in the podcast before, or you've seen pictures of him probably. He doesn't have much hair. So his head will get cold in Scotland. So, I used leftover yarn. I love this Wool Naturals in Cocoa and Umber on US 6s, 4.0s, and US 8s, 5.0 millimeters, and did the Graham hat by Jennifer Adams, and did the dark into the light. You want to put it on?
Sure.
Damaris modeled it for pictures on Ravelry. And he likes it. I think Damaris likes it too. She might steal it. And I like how it looks. I think it looks really cool. Can you turn a little bit to the back so they can kind of see the back? Mm-hmm. So the color just kind of fades at the top. So, and that used up all of the dark I had and most of the light. So, another finished project. And final finished project. Oops, yarn. A Dandy Sir Cephalopod for Lola. Okay, so the reason I'm doing the Dandy Sir Cephalopods is for Christmas. I'm trying to get I'm trying to get Christmas done for my niece Lola and my nephew Wyatt and the new baby that's coming in December, before we leave the United States, so that I can leave it and not have to ship it back. So, our kind of tradition is that we do books, and I try to usually do something knitted that goes with it. So, we're doing a book for them this year that is called oh, dadgummit, what's the name of it? Is it Wiggle Like an Octopus, maybe? Anyway, Lola loves to pretend that she's an animal. She will act out like any animal, and I think Wyatt will love it too, and I'm sure the baby will love it too. So I decided that they all 3 needed cephalopods. So, using the pattern that I just showed you that I'm doing for Wyatt, I finished Lola's cephalopod. And I used leftover yarn, and it was SMC Bravo Jacquard color in the mulberry colorway. And let me tell you, I'm knitting this, I finish it, and I literally had this much yarn left. That's like about maybe 10 inches of yarn left. I was like freaking out getting towards the top. I was like, oh my gosh, I am going to run out of yarn and not have enough to finish this. I did hers on US 6s 4.0 millimeters, because this is more of a light worsted weight. So, you ready? Here's the cephalopod with a mustache. The yarn is like a dark mulberry and a light pink and a purple and white and brown and orange. And there's its legs. And I got the eyes off Etsy. I think it was like 60 Eyes was the name of the store. And then the mustache button is from Tangerine Designs. And I think it's adorable. And it's about, oh gosh, I measured it the other day because I was trying to tell my mom about it. I can't remember. It's like about, it's about 7 inches tall when the legs are down flat. And I stuffed them just enough that it will stand up on its own, or you can do it like that. Isn't it adorable? He's watching you. So will Lola like this?
Yes.
Because it's pink and purple. So I've got this one for Lola, and then you saw the one that I'm making for Wyatt, and his is a little bit smaller. It's a lighter weight yarn, and I've got a small mustache button to put on his. And then when I make the babies, I will not put these kind of eyes or a mustache on them. So there'll be no mustache on the babies, and the eyes I'll probably just use like a solid color yarn and sew eyes so that there's not a choking hazard. I love this pattern. If you have not knit this pattern, you should do it immediately. It is amazing. It is so much fun to put together. And it's just stuffed with polyfill. So it's squishy. Squishy, squishy, octopus. And that's what I finished this week. Let's talk about some yummies. Okay, here we go. And now it's time for my favorite part of the show. Yummies. What's yummies? What do we talk about in yummies?
You say that.
I know, but I feel like I've been talking like the entire podcast.
You say it.
Okay. I'm sorry that I'm talking so much. I just have a lot to say. Yummies is when we talk about like our current favorite things, or things that we've done this week, or things we want to share with you, or exciting things, or just what's going on in our lives. So you want to start?
We still have some more of these buttons, which we would like you to have if you want them. So if you want them, look up there and do whatever it says.
It says email or PM me. And how much does it cost?
The shipping in the U.S. is about $1.50, and outside the U.S. is about $2.
Yeah. And pretty much, you're really just covering the PayPal fee and really the mailing and the package so we can mail it. I wish we had the money to just ship them to everyone, but we can't. So, okay, I'm still doing Stash Dash, and with Lola's finished scarf and fingerless gloves and the Hub's hat and Lola's Cephalopod, I am now at 3,070 yards out of 4,375, so I have 1,305 to go. So if you don't know about Stash Dash, this is something that the Knit Girls podcast is doing, where you're encouraged to knit or crochet or spin 4,375 yards of yarn over the course of the summer. I think it ends in early August. So I'm at 3,070 with 1,305 to go, and I've got the socks on the needle right now and Wyatt's Cephalopod on the needle right now. And then I still have to do the baby's Cephalopod and yours and my drizzles. So that should get me at least halfway through all that, if not more. So I'm making progress. Okay, you want to talk about some of the stuff we've watched this week?
We watched the docudrama Iron-Jawed Angels from 2004.
So, you want to tell them a little bit about what this was about?
It was about the early 1900s women's suffrage movement.
Yeah. And it had Hilary Swank in it, and Angelica Houston, and Julia Ormond, who I love. She's the same one that was in Sabrina with Harrison Ford. And who else was in it? Did I say Patrick Dempsey?
No.
So, we tried to watch this, when was it? About a week ago, maybe? From Netflix, the DVD, and the DVD was damaged 17 minutes in. So we had to request a new one, and it came, so we watched it last night. What'd you think of it?
I liked it.
Yeah. It was, even though it was a dramatized version of it, it was pretty true to really what happened, and it was very moving and emotional for me. So, if you haven't seen it, check out Iron-Jawed Angels from 2004. What else are we kind of watching? So, we said this last week in our next segment, what we're watching and reading, but some of the stuff that we're watching that is older stuff, we're talking about in Yummies, just because it's not spoiler related. So, what else are we watching?
The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes with Jeremy Brett.
Which is also called, what'd you say it was called?
Granada Holmes.
Granada Holmes. So, where are we in that?
We just watched The Final Problem.
With Moriarty. Mwahaha. I think he should have a mustache that, like, one of those evil, sinister mustaches. Because he's evil and sinister. Maybe Tangerine Designs could make him a button. So what do you think of how they're interpreting Arthur Conan Doyle's writings?
I like it.
Do you think it's accurate, or, I mean, what do you think in comparison to other stuff?
I think it is the most accurate one we have watched.
I agree. In relation to Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's writings, because y'all know we just finished reading all the novels and short stories last month. Or this month, or recently we finished. I'll have to say that it's not my favorite retelling of the writing, because love us some Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman, and also some Elementary with Lucy Liu and his name that's on the tip of my tongue. Johnny Lee Miller.
Yeah.
But it is the most true that we've watched. And we're watching this one. We watch Elementary. We watch Sherlock with Cumberbatch and Freeman. We've watched the Robert Downey Jr. movies. Is that all the ones we've watched?
Elementary.
I already said that.
Oh.
I think that's all of them.
Yeah.
VeggieTales. Sherlock Holmes.
That doesn't count.
Oh. And I wasn't thrilled at the beginning, but it's gotten better. And it's been pretty accurate. So. Alrighty. Oh, I guess I have to talk about this part. I finished watching Doc Martens Series 5. Like, I totally got enthralled and, like, watched, I think, all of Series 4 and 5 in 1 week. Because it was so good. But I'm really thrilled because Eileen, who is Wisconsin Knitter, I think that's her revelry name, who's in our group, told me that they are filming a Series 6. Yay! So, I will be excited to watch that. So, I had to start a new show. I tried Justified, which is a FX series. I gave it a shot. I wasn't thrilled. So, X'd it. And so I have started watching Covert Affairs, which is a...
USA.
Yeah, USA Network series. And they're the same ones that do Burn Notice and White Collar. Psych.
They air reruns of Law and Order and NCIS all
Yes,
the time.
they do. What's the other one that they do? Burn Notice, White Collar, Psych. Yeah, I can't think of what it is. It's on the tip of my tongue. Maybe I'll keep talking. Anyway, I really am enjoying Covert Affairs because it's also a spy show about a female spy, and the guy from Once Upon a Time who plays August is in it right now, and also what's her name, that is Regina from Once Upon a Time, was just in an episode. Burn Notice, Psych, White Collar. It must be an old one that's not listed on their stuff anymore. There was another one that we watched from them, and I cannot think what it is. Huh. Don't you hate that? Anyway, so I started watching Covert Affairs. I'm like halfway through the first season already. Damaris hadn't been watching it. I mean, like, she's in here sometimes when I'm watching it, but she hasn't been watching it. But the hubs has been watching a little of it with me. Oh, and the guy from Jake 2.0 is in it. And I love him. I don't know what his name is. He's blind in this show, though. I like him. And who else is in it? Somebody else. Peter Gallagher is in it. And somebody else that I can't think of. Yeah. So anyway, I'm watching that. What else are we watching?
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who!
What a surprise.
You're shocked, aren't you? Are you shocked? You, right there. You. That person right there is shocked. So where are we?
We are in Series 3.
We did a little fast forward so that I could take a appropriately named picture, and then went back for a photo challenge I do, because I needed a last picture. Okay, where are we in Series 3?
We are on, I think it's episode 6, called 42.
We haven't watched that one yet.
Nope.
So what did we just watch?
The Lazarus Experiment.
With Mark Gatiss. I told Damaris it would have been funnier if Mark Gatiss had written the episode that he starred in. It made me want Sherlock back even more. Because Mark Gatiss is in Sherlock. It has surprised me how much I had forgotten. Because I mean, like, there's some episodes that I've watched several times, especially, like, in Series 6 and 7. But some of the earlier stuff, I'd only watched, like, once. So, like, what was that one that I didn't even remember at all? The one that you didn't like that episode.
Love and Monsters.
Yeah, Love and Monsters, I did not even remember at all. Until, like, halfway through it, and I was like, oh, yeah, now I remember this.
Electric Light Orchestra.
Oh, yeah, I did love that part of it. No, that was cool.
You made the computer you to shake.
I was dancing. So yeah, but we're watching all that with the hubs, and so it tends to be a weekend thing when he's home. I think that's all the stuff we're kind of rewatching or watching old stuff. Okay, so you want to show them the thingy bobber that was cool this week? So tell them what it is before you show it.
Okay, this is a Google Doodle. Wow, shiny.
I know. Do you know what a Google Doodle is?
It was a dark and stormy night.
So Google Doodles are the things on Google's homepage when, like, it's a special day, like a holiday or an event, where they change the thing that says Google to a image, and
that says Google.
It says Google, but it's an image.
Artistically.
So this one was for the
first day of winter for Brazil, Australia, Chile, Uruguay, Peru, Paraguay, New Zealand, Bolivia, and Argentina.
But it's so cool because it's knitting related. Is that not awesome? So we'll put a link to it in the show notes in case you wanted to show it to somebody else, but I thought it was so cool. They're not a very fast knitter. Okay. So, was it last week that I asked him about the Instagram thing?
Maybe.
Last week or whenever it was that I asked you about whether you wanted to do a crafty Instagram photo challenge thing. Well, there's some interest in it, so I think we're going to do it. So, we're going to start it for July the 1st. I can't believe it's July almost already. So, there is going to be on our website, geekygirlsknit.blogspot.com, a whole post about this. But we're going to stop the video for a second and put in the image so that you can kind of see some of the prompts. It's going to be fast, so don't try to read the whole thing. You can look at it later. But we just want to show you. So hold on just a second. Okay, did you see it? Isn't it cool? So we're calling this, the hashtag is going to be GGK Crafty Pad photo a day. That's what PAD stands for. And we're going to put a lot of information is, actually I wrote the blog post last night, I just haven't published it yet. It's in the blog post, but primarily this is going to be done on Instagram, but there are also going to be ways for you to share on Twitter and Facebook and Ravelry and really pretty much anywhere you want to, but those are primarily the places we'll be looking. And this is just to inspire you to be creative. The prompts are there to inspire you, but you really have the freedom to interpret them however you want to interpret them. So we hope you will join us for the July Geeky Girls Knit Crafty Photo a Day Challenge. GGK Crafty Pad for short. We're excited about it. Okay, Scotland. So, last week we talked about Scotland in our, what did we call the segment?
Not something.
Not so yummies or something like that. It's a little better this week. So, was that Saturday that I did the 12 gazillion mountains of paperwork?
I think.
So, we have everything ready for our visas. There was online paperwork, and then we had to make the payments, which there was issue with the bank debit card declining the payments, but then we got it to go through. And then there was paperwork that we had to fill out by hand. So it is all together. We had to have photos, and we found a place in Fort Worth that we are going to go to on Friday. That's what we were alluding to earlier. Friday is going to be a road trip to Fort Worth, which is about 3-ish hours away from us driving. So we'll have at least 6 hours of driving knitting time since the hubs will be driving. So we have to go to Fort Worth for our biometrics appointments, and from what we understand, that will be doing our fingerprints, and they have to have our signature on file. So we will go do that, and then we will leave straight from there and go to the nearest post office and priority mail our huge stack of paperwork and photos and our passports and everything, plus a envelope for a prepaid envelope for them to mail us everything back to the British consulate in New York. Assuming we get it out on Friday at the time we're thinking, they should receive it on Monday. And it, according to their website, it takes between 3 days and 3 months to process Tier 4 student visas, which is what the Hubs is getting, and then I'm getting a Tier 4 student visa dependent spouse, and Damaris is getting a Tier 4 student visa dependent child. Their average time on the last reported one on their website, they tell us the average time it takes for a month at a time was about 15 days. So hopefully mid to late July we will have our visas, which is important because we cannot travel to the UK without them. So that's the positive news, is that we got everything worked out with the visas on our end, and we're going Friday to do the appointments, actually. We all three have to have appointments. What else? We are still waiting to hear on a flat, and so we cannot buy plane tickets yet until we know when we can move into a flat. So hopefully in the next few days we will know something on a flat so that we can purchase our plane tickets. Our current plan, as long as a flat is available, is going to be to fly out of Dallas on September the 3rd, which is I think it's a Tuesday, because those tickets are the most cost effective. Yes. And if we get the tickets that we're looking at, we'll fly out of Dallas into, I believe, Toronto, Canada, and then fly from Toronto into Edinburgh and arrive on Wednesday, September the 4th. The Hubs has stuff starting on Monday, September the 9th, so we really need to arrive and get settled into our flat and adjust to the time change, because it's a 6-hour difference. They're 6 hours ahead of us. The fundraiser is going well. Thank you to those of you who have donated. I know we got another donation overnight that I have not sent an email out to the person yet, but I will do that later today. So thank you to those who have donated so far. If you're interested, if you want to know more about our move and the reason we're moving and everything, all this is available on our website, scotland.thealmonds.com. But also there is the fundraiser that we're doing with prizes in August. So thank you to those of you who have donated. We appreciate you, and that's our Scotland update, I believe. Any more yummies?
No.
I think that's everything. So I think we're ready to go to the next segment.
Now we're talking about what we're reading and watching.
So I am still reading this book, Starflower, Tales of the Goldstone Wood, book number 4 by Anne Elizabeth Stengel. And I am pretty close to halfway. I'm on page 146 out of 348. What's half of 348, Damaris? 150 plus 24, 174. So I'm not quite halfway, but I'm making progress. Angie, who is Sundaisy with some numbers after it. 9:20?
I
I think. So, anyway, Angie sent this to me to read. I'd read the other ones on my Kindle, and so she sent me this one to read. So I'm reading it. Thank you, Angie. You're right, it is. I really like this one better than 3 or 2. We're also reading. Well, what did you think we were reading?
I thought we were supposed to read the Wizard of Oz books.
By
L. Frank Baum.
Baum. So she started that. I started the Wicked series by Gregory Maguire. And we just discovered this right before we started recording. So, you're going to finish. You're almost done with the first book, right? So you're going to finish it, and then are you going to jump to Wicked, or do I need to jump to Wizard of Oz?
I don't know.
I guess I can jump to Wizard of Oz. I don't mind.
Okay.
So, we're going to put a hold on Wicked by Gregory Maguire and jump to the Wizard of Oz. We got a really good deal on the whole set of the Wizard of Oz. Like I don't know how many books there are, like 8 or something, on Kindle one day. So.
There are 14 of them.
Oh, 14 of them! 14. So that's what we're going to be reading. Okay, 2 TV shows to talk about. Continuum 2.3, Second Thoughts. So this episode was really centered on this drug from the future that all of a sudden was in the present. And it was the same drug that Kira's sister was addicted to in the future. Travis and Sonia are like killing off all the gang leaders in the city. Like there was this totally gross part where Travis goes to talk to some of the gang, one of this gang, and he opens a suitcase and it's got all these people's heads in it. It was really gross. He was taking over. Alec, being stupid, used the drug to try to find out the truth about his dad. So this drug like lets you see things from the past, but really focused. So when he was wanting to see this thing about this conversation between his dad and mom, and it turned out to be instead that crazy guy from the future that Kira talks to about time travelers with. So I'm not sure. There's something going there. And Julian, who is Alec's brother, who's in jail, is now being protected by a gang on Sonia's orders. So there was some kind of messed up stuff. So, next episode is episode 2.4, Second Skin, on the 28th, which is this Friday. Okay, you want to talk a little bit about this one?
This is Warehouse 13, episode 4.18, Lost and Found.
So I took these notes, but you can help me talk about them. So, do you want to start or do you want me to? So, through this episode, we see that Charlotte, who is the Countess, who is married to Spike from Angel, and Buffy, what's his name? James Marsters, and he's the Count. They're married, but they are immortal. Hello, vampire reference? Anyway, so she's been trying to get stuff from the warehouse, but we find out the story is much different than we thought. Then we had
an appearance of Anthony Stewart Head. He was also in Buffy.
Yes, and Merlin.
King Giles.
Which just reminded me that we didn't talk about, when we were talking about The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, that in one of the episodes we watched, was it yesterday or the day before, who was in it?
Richard Wilson.
Who played?
Gaius.
On?
Merlin.
Okay, sorry, we got sidetracked. So then we found out that Nick is Charlotte and Spike's...
We forgot his character's name.
I don't know what the Count.
The Count?
Son. But he's immortal too, so he's stuck at 15. But he's bad. Very bad. He's breaking into the warehouse. Bad. Totally love this line.
The Philosopher's Stone.
Which is
from Harry Potter.
Okay, so like she finds it. Charlotte finds the stone, and they confront her, and she's like, "It's the Philosopher's Stone," and Pete's like, "From Harry Potter?" And then tears, crying, sad. Micah finally tells Pete that she has cancer. Oh my gosh, like the tears were just like, oh. And then the last 30 seconds. Nick broke out an alchemist.
Anthony Stewart Head.
Exactly. From the bronze sector. And then they bronzed Claudia. And then they destroyed the bronzer. Ha! So Claudia is bronzed now. OMG, 7 gazillion exclamation points on the show notes over here.
OMG?
No, OMG! And so, when's the next episode, and what is it? Before I cry.
Next week.
Yeah, on Monday.
4.19, all the time in the world.
And that's
what we're reading and watching.
Thank you. On to the next segment. Alright, the June color cal is winding down. The last day for it is Sunday, June the 30th, and we will close the finished objects thread on Monday, July 1st in the morning sometime, so get your pictures in there. We had, I'm stopping to say, we will choose winners for the prize or prizes next week on the podcast on July the 3rd. Yeah, next Wednesday. So, we had several projects, quite a few actually, finished this week and shared, so we're going to run through those real fast. Okay, I'm ready. Sorry. Water. Okay, Rose Bob, who is Rose, finished her Monkey by Cookie A socks and her Earthy Cow. May G, who is Gloria, finished her red socks. Crow Julie, who is Julie, finished her felted dish and socks. Sunday Z920, I was right. Sunday Z920, who is Angie, finished her pink dragonfly dishcloth. M Queen, who is Nicole, who was a new member this week, finished her fingerless gloves, her Franken socks, and crazy barn raising quilt squares. And Christy Ray, who is Christy, finished a Sheldon the Turtle. Did you see it? Adorable. A Giddy Up washcloth and a Spa Day face cloth. Great job, everyone. Clap for them. We're proud of you. Way to go. So, get your color cal projects finished. If you're new to the podcast, the theme for our cal this month was to knit, crochet, spin, weave, any of the Ravelry crafts, something in your favorite color. And it doesn't have to be solid of your favorite color. It could be, as long as it has your favorite color in it. It counts. So post those objects in the finished objects thread, and we will choose winner or winners next week. This makes me want to sing the song. Hip to be square. So, for July, as you just saw on the image, our theme for our cal, we call it a cal, a K-A-L, but it really can be knitting, crocheting, weaving. For July, it's good. I don't think spinning is going to work, but any of the Ravelry crafts will always count for our cal as long as they fit the theme. So for July, our theme is going to be hip to be square. So we're thinking square-shaped objects. So it can be dishcloths. I have 7 to knit, at least in July. It can be blanket squares. It can be the turn a square hat, which is not technically square, but it is square. Okay, for this, we are saying that they cannot be started before July 1st. Usually we're pretty flexible on that, but since these are small objects, we're going to say it has to be started July 1st or later and finished. How many days are there in July?
31.
It has to be finished by July 31st. Now, with this caveat, if you have a large project you are doing, for example, like a log cabin blanket that is square that you've already started on and are going to finish in July, please contact us for approval to enter it into the July Hip to Be Square Cal. Or if you have another project like that, that is something large that you've started that you're going to finish in July that is square, contact us. If it's something small, like a dishcloth or squares for a blanket or a hat, a cowl, things like that, they can't have been started before July 1st. Does that make sense? If you have questions, you can feel free to ask them in the chatter thread, which we will start probably over the weekend, since July 1st is on Monday. So probably after we get back from Fort Worth. Sometime over the weekend we'll start that. Or feel free to PM us or email us with questions. So we're looking forward to the Hip to Be Square Cal in July with prize or prizes. All right, on to the next segment. I knew we had a lot of stuff to talk about, but I did not think it was going to be this long of an episode. But this has been a little bit of a longer episode. So let's roll. Not roll.
Recap?
Not recap.
Wrap?
Wrap things up. We mentioned this at the beginning, but we'll mention it again. We're doing a giveaway right now. What is it?
Our 200 member giveaway, which is kind of what the name implies.
So, invite your friends to come join the group. Or if you are a viewer and you have not joined our Ravelry group, come do it. Being a member of the group enters you in the giveaway. And when we have 200 members, we will do prize. Our next Geeky Girls Knit VKN Virtual Knit Night is going to be on next Friday. So, like a week and 2 days from now. July the 5th at 1 p.m. Central Time. That's going to be our first Friday of the month, VKN. So, watch Plurk or Facebook or Twitter or Ravelry for the link for that for a little over a week from now for our VKN. Where can they find us?
You can find us at geekygirlsknit.blogspot.com, and there are links to many places where we are at: Ravelry, Blip, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, etc.
Plurk, Instagram. Yeah. So find us there. We hope you have a great week, and we wish you happy knitting, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.